Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye up, bye up. Let's get straight to that intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate the support. I'm very humbled. So, orale pues, King Little G, the Sucio King himself, right? Gone. Wow, with this political climate, with everything going on right now, man, the last thing that Valto wanted was to be over there in TJ trying to get a ride. But that's just the way it is, man. When you nowadays don't have your papers in order or you commit a crime in the United States, if they can kick you to somewhere, they're going to fuck you. They'll send my ass to Alaska. Even though that's the United States. I've already been warned. Fuck up one more time, puto, you're going to Alaska. I'm like, damn, isn't that still America? Yeah, but that's the part of America you don't want to be at, right? We'll send your ass there in the middle of fucking December. Damn, right? King Little G's been deported by ICE. They went and snatched him up. And I'm here to tell you, I've been sitting on this story for well over a month. For well over a month, man, someone brought this to my attention. They were like, hey, did you hear what's going on with King Little G? I said, nah. I guess he was going through some trials and tribulations. He got caught with the gun or something like that. He fucked up. And according to what the homie was telling me, that there was a slight possibility or even a chance that he was going to be deported. And I remember the homeboy asked me advice, what should he do? And I said, stay in the cuts. I told him, this is exactly what I said. I said, as of what's going on right now with ICE going door to door and snatching people up and doing what they're doing, the best thing for King Little G was to do was stay in the cuts. Stay out the way. And I implore to people, man, if you got a situation going on, right, where your paperwork is in limbo, maybe you messed up, hey, man, just stay in the cut. Stay off them streets. Stay out the way. Because right now, man, ICE is going street to street, block to block. And if they see you and you don't look the way they think you're supposed to look, you're going to be questioned. I've been questioned. A lot of other people I know have been questioned. Some people I know have been snatched up. It's just what it is right now, man. It's just what it is. It's not about the breaking up of the families and the this and the that. Man, you're going to get targeted, bro. You are going to be targeted if you look Mexican or if you look Latino or raza or anything. You know, on the West Coast, they're going to target your ass. That's just how it is right now. You're at least going to be questioned if you're in that wrong area. So, you know, I understand they got a job to do, but if you don't want no smoke, then don't be out there in a smoky area. Don't be starting no fires. With King Little G, what's crazy about his situation is he's a pretty known rapper, you know, from Baru 18th Street, man, Los Angeles area. He blew up a few years back, man. And I'm not going to lie, man, I ran into King Little G one time in my life. And you probably don't remember, but I was at a tattoo convention. I was getting this tattoo right here, right? And the people I was getting this tattoo from were from LA, okay? And I was walking around and I was wanting to get a head tattoo and I seen a booth and I seen their artwork. And I'm not going to lie, man, it's always been this way. Southsiders get down tattooing, right? That's their thing. So yes, a Southsider did tattoo this, right? But they get down tattooing. And I seen their little booth and I was like, oh, they're getting down, right? And these guys were all from Southern California. There was one from Fresno. He was a good-ass tattoo artist. His name was Güero. But these guys were getting down and what's up? I said, I hit the little youngster up. And I didn't even notice that King Little G was sitting right there. I guess he was doing the little tattoo tour with them. Him and some chick, I forget her name, right? Luscious Lips or some shit like that. But they all had his shirts on, the Sucios brand, right? Sucios. And I was all right, cool. It looked like the type of booth that I would gravitate towards because that's my style, right? And I hit old boy up and we worked out and negotiated a deal. And I sat right down right there at the tattoo convention. He got down on my head, right? Did his thing. But King Little G was there. I guess he was getting ready to perform at the tattoo convention and do his thing. And so we chopped it up for a quick second, like, hey, what's up, bro? These guys didn't even know I was an ex-Norteño. Like, that never got brought up. It wasn't, hey, are you active? Hey, what's up, homie? It was just more of a tattoo atmosphere. And we just chopped it up. Now, I would have told them, you know what I mean? I didn't have no issues, no problems. If they'd have been like, hey, where you from? I'd have been like, yeah, I used to be a Norteño, bro, but I don't fuck around, right? And if they wanted to get off where they were mad at, then I guess I would have been a leaking head-ass Norteño, right? Because we'd have been fighting. But that never came up. He seemed like a cool dude. That was my only interaction. Now, if you remember, about a year and a half ago, there was his name got dragged into the spotlight because he was beefing with Swifty Blue. Orale Swifty, right? There was a big beef going on, and allegedly he slapped Swifty Blue on stage at a concert. That was the word that was going around. Of course, Swifty Blue vehemently, is that how you say it? Vehemently, right? Vehemently, he denied it, right? He denied it and said, no, that's not how it went down. I'm the one that slapped him. And it was back and forth. And it became an issue. It became an issue in social media. It became an issue on the streets. Okay, because there was a lot of people backing King Little G's play and a lot of people backing Swifty Blue's play. So his name got kind of dragged into the limelight. Now, I was never aware that King Little G was a Mexican national, meaning that he was here, I guess, legally, but he was born in Mexico. I found that out over time, and it really didn't matter to me. See, I don't care where you were born. I don't care what your culture is. All I care about is the way that you carry yourself with integrity and morals and how you treat others. That's all that's ever mattered to me. It doesn't matter if this guy is legal or illegal to me. If he ain't out there committing crimes and doing bad shit, so be it. I'm not going to lie, man. Most of the people that I've seen committing crimes and doing bad shit are Americans. You know what I mean? So, because that's where I live and that's what I'm around. So that's just how that goes. But King Little G did get caught up. He got caught up in a gun case and a couple other different things going on. And when you have your papers, okay, those can get revoked. Those can be snatched back. See, that's a privilege. That's something that there's trials and tribulations you have to go through and things you have to sign up for to get those papers, right? Once you get those papers, okay, you need to hold on like invoke to those motherfuckers. That means what comes with those papers, meaning your green card, and what comes with that is you can't be out here committing crime. You can't be getting caught up. Yes, you're now considered a part of American society and a lightweight American citizen, but that doesn't mean you can go out there and start committing crimes. Because what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to look into the origin of your fucking, of you, where you were born and what you had going on, and they're going to revoke your privileges. And that's what's happened to King Little G. They revoked his privileges because he had that court case, because he was committing crime, and probably a little bit of targeting because of who he was, right? But at the end of the day, man, you make your bed, you lie in it. Now he's deported. Now ICE came and snatched him up. How they found him, who told on him, what happened, I don't have the exact details, but I seen it coming. Like I said, the homeboy told me about a month ago, man, hey, King Little G's on the run right now, bro. They're looking for him. What should he do? Not like fucking my advice meant anything, and I said, just stay out the way. What can you do at this point but stay the fuck out the way, you know? It's a messed up situation what he's going through, man, what his family's going through, because, see, when you live that long in a place, you build a life. You know, look, he's built a big rap career, and he was making money, man. He was doing his thing, buying homes, having his career, his lady, his children, everything that he's built and he's accumulated while having that paperwork, all can be lost when you commit a crime or when you do something stupid or when you get targeted, right? In this case, let's call it what it is, man. He messed up. He got caught in possession allegedly with some straps, right? An AK from what I'm hearing. And that was that. They finally caught up with him and snatched him up. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean he could go over to Mexico and file the correct paperwork and come back? Probably not, man. King Little G's probably going to be having to pump his music out from Mexico. I'm going to be honest with you. Because the truth of the matter is, the facts are that when they revoke your paperwork, you're never allowed, usually 9 times out of 10, you're never allowed to reapply for a certain amount of time, or you ain't got that coming anymore. You know, it could be a point where they're like, you know what, we're going to deport you, take you back to Mexico. You figure out your paperwork, get your shit right, you can come back. But because he committed a crime and because they decided to revoke his papers, his papeles, and send him back, it might be off the table now. It might be like, we don't want you over here. You're one of the guys that is fucking up the fabric of America. You're one of the guys that was given an opportunity for freedoms and liberties and to do well. And yes, you did make something of yourself. Yes, you did establish a family, but at the same time, you were out there joining gangs and committing crime. And that's what's going to hurt people. You know, when you come to America or you go to any other country from America and you get involved in the gang violence and you get involved in crime, I don't care if you're a rapper, I don't care if you're whatever you're doing in life, if you're still living, you know, that street life or you're associating with that street life, you're going to get caught up. Americans don't want you here. People don't want gang members here. Okay, people don't want violence anymore. They're tired of it. And there's a lot of people that are willing to just sacrifice their morals and their integrity and everything to get rid of these guys. They're like, whatever. Okay. And then there's people like myself that I'm like on the fence about the situation. I don't believe if you're committing crimes and you're doing bad things, yeah, society's probably better off without you. They were better off with me for many years when I was in prison. I promise that, right? But at the same time, I want to see it gone about righteously in the right way. I don't want to see people snatched up in the streets and shot 3 times in the face and this and that. I don't want to see all that. What I want to see is people get their proper due process, right? Give a person a chance to explain themselves. Even if a person came over illegally, and I understand that's against the law, but if they're working, if they're not out there committing crime, if they're doing well in life, if they got their family, their children, man, let them be. Let them continue. Why don't you assist them in a program of helping them get their papers and their documents so that they're documented and they can do it right? You know, because a lot of these people don't know how that goes. So enlighten them, educate them. That's what we need to do as Mexican American people, right? Is start programs that enlighten, you know, the paisitas and help them. Because, you know, there's a lot that do want to do well. They want to do good. And they just didn't know how, man. And they were escaping poverty and tragedy, man. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, those people that are out there committing crimes and joining gangs and carrying guns and all that, if you got to go, homie, you got to go. Can't speak up for you. Now, for King Little G, it's going to be a little crazy because he gets a lot of fans. He gets a lot of supporters. He gets a lot of people that are tripping, waking up this morning like, damn, they deported King Little G. Yes. Oh, yes, they did. Oh, yes, ICE did. They went and snatched him up, right? But he been on the run for a while. He's been ducking and dodging. Right? He's been, orale, LA Dodgers. He's been ducking and dodging because they've been on him. And they finally caught up to him. Now, I don't know the circumstances of where they caught up to him or how they caught up to him, but it's eventually going to happen. When you are a rapper and you get your money by touring or you get your money by pulling up to these little venues or selling your fucking T-shirts or whatever you're doing, I mean, if they really want you, and it seems like right now this is what they're on, targeting, right? They're going to get you, period. So he's gone. Will he be able to come back? Probably not, man. Probably not. But this is probably the best thing that could happen for him at this point because he needs to go over there to Mexico. He's got money, I'm sure, man, and kind of fly under the radar and live his family life for a while before he gets back to his music. Because I'm not going to lie, Mexico's a whole different animal. Now, I'm sure he's went back to Mexico, so he knows what it is. He has connections. He has family. He has friends. But maybe not. And if not, that's cold-blooded. Let me tell you about my homeboy, man. So I had a homeboy, and he was a paisa, right? He was born in, he was a Mexican national. He's my boy, though, right? I remember growing up with him, but I remember he was born in Mexico, and he used to tell us, yeah, my family, and you could tell he had a slight accent, whatever. It didn't matter. It was the homie from the hood. That was that, right? And every time we wanted to put in work or do something, we knew like, hey, this fool can't get caught up. If he gets caught up, he's going to get snatched up. He used to tell us, or maybe that was his excuse not to put in no work, but he was down. There was plenty of times he did things, got up out of there, but like, he was like, bro, I can't take that chance. We're like, no, it's cool. Cause he was under the assumption that if he got snatched up, he was gone. Now his mother and father had passed. His brother was locked up in prison. So it was kind of just like him on his own, right? Didn't know any of his family in Mexico. Didn't none of that. He knew he was from Mexico. He knew what town he was from in Mexico, but he didn't know shit other than that. He spoke Spanish fluently, but luckily for that, that was about it. But he was Americanized. About the word Carl Kanai and shit, right? And one day we get pulled over, man. We get pulled over and he got snatched up. And I remember we were all like tripping because they took him to the INS. Like they took him to a different pod. We went, it was no big deal. We got caught with some weed in the car. Bam, they released us, but they kept him and they shipped him to an INS fucking spot. And I remember the homeboys all getting money together to put, you know what I mean? Like, hey, can we give him some money? before he leaves because he was going to go to Mexico with nothing. There was no ifs, ands, and buts. He was being deported. And he did. They ended up fucking dropping him off in Mexico. And I remember a couple of my homeboys were like, "Fool, we'll go over there and slide him back, throw him up in the trunk and slide him back, or let's pay for this." And so one of the homeboys did eventually pay for him, and he came back. He got brought back, right? And he was wiggling around the hood, but it was like he was a target now. It was like he could not stop. The cops just knew who he was already. They had all points bulletin. He gets snatched up again, deported again. This time they took him deeper into Mexico, not just TJ. They took him deeper, right? Again, the homies mounted some money up, went snatched him back. He was back again. I was like, damn, bro, you're back. Now he was like really in the cuts, staying with the home grud or pad. Like, but you could tell he was kind of miserable because he was having to sell drugs. He was having to do some stuff that he wasn't necessarily into. That dude was a hard worker. Like, he would go out to the fields and work and do his thing, right? But he was trying to stay way low key. Well, he's chilling with the homegirl. They end up start fucking around with each other, right? They end up fucking around with each other, and that becomes his old lady, even though I don't know why. She was a biggin. But anyways, that became his old lady, and they get into some type of domestic issue because she knows that he has a chick out there in Mexico, I guess, that he had knocked while he was out there, right? So he wants to bring her back. It's just some big old chaos. And what ends up happening is she goes crazy on him, and she calls the cops on him. This motherfucker right here is illegal. Come snatch him, cold-blooded, right? She's supposed to be the one hiding him out. She was designated fucking hideout spot. But what does she do? She goes and calls the INS on him, right? They come. ICE snatch him for the last time. He goes back. Well, that chick that he was messing with in Mexico, because he didn't know anyone. When he got out there, he was on the streets, man. He didn't have really no money but what we gave him. And this time the homies are like, fuck that. That fool be coming back too much, man. It's like wasting our money, right? So the homies kind of left him on his own, which was a tragedy in itself, as much work as he put in for the hood and as much work as he didn't, right? But anyways, he ends up going over there, gets a little holler with the call centers. They have like call centers out there in TJ. This time they sent him back to TJ. And his family was from Durango, right? So they were from somewhere different. But anyways, he's in TJ, gets a little job, little holler. He's back with that chick. Well, that chick's old man was somebody. He didn't know, and that's why he just got out of prison. When he was back arguing with this chick, that chick in Mexico that he was fucking with, her old man gets out, right? So when he goes back, he thinks it's all good. He goes over there, and that dude kills him, right? So that's what happened with him. It was just a life of just, and he wasn't really a bad person, but I'm not going to lie. He was a gang member. He was involved in criminality, and so you kind of reap what you sow. With King Little G, I think, I'm not going to sit there and say he was committing crime after crime, but he had that persona. He had, getting this AKs tattooed and all this fucking shit, and that symbolism right there is like the symbolism of crime and guns and bullshit, right? And so I'm sure the ICE and the administration and the cops, they're happy. Like, we got one. One that's contaminating the minds of the youth, that gangbanging's okay with his music and all that. So, pobrecito King Little G, man, he got deported, but hey, it happens. He's a grown man. He's got money. He'll get his shit together. He'll be all right, but now he has to go to Mexico, and that's a different animal. And believe me, the last thing you want to be in Mexico is someone who's well known from America with money, because them boys might pull up on you and need some of that. Can I hold something? Hey, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué quiere, puto? Yo quiero una pinche caguame de King Cobra, and you're paying for it, bitch. Right? They're not playing. So you need to watch out. He needs to really be aware of where he's at and who he's around. I'm sure he has friends and family out there. I'm sure he prepared for this moment. Hopefully he prepared for this moment, because when you're on the run, man, and ICE is looking for you and you're going to be deported and shit, you better be in prepare mode. You better be in doomsday mode, because it's about to be doomsday. Well, doomsday happened the other day and King Little G got deported. So for all his fans, man, I'm sure he'll be all right, hopefully, and I'm sure he'll push more music out. But it's cold-blooded, man. King Lil G's no more, and I don't think he's coming back. If he does, it's not going to be legally. Right now, man, you want to wait till everything dies down. That's what the advice I told the homeboy too. I was like, he should wait till all this shit dies down, bro. But it just seems like it's getting worse. It fucking sucks. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. This video is sponsored by Barrio Liquors in Turlock, California. If you're in the area, make sure that you go pull up, man. Get you something cold right there from Lali at the Barrio. Also, Sticks and Stones. Man, make sure you go to Sticks and Stones Landscaping out there in AZ, man. The homie will put you on, have your shit looking clean, nice, and he's the hardest worker I've ever seen in my life, man. Hopefully, I don't deport the homeboy. because he works too hard. Bang, bang.